have a lot more time to try to get some of these stories done. I had this story pulled up right when it happened. Well, not right when it happened, but right when the sentencing happened, when it's kind of became a little more known to a lot of people. So I had the story about 7 days ago, but I'm just now having an opportunity to talk about this thing. Okay, so this is coming out of Arkansas, nearby Little Rock, Arkansas. Okay, let me see. Got one more that just came in. Bear with me just a moment. All right. I don't know if she's in the chat. If you are in the chat, shout yourself out. But this came in. We have a donation that came in by way of Karen. Karen G. If you're listening, I want to say thank you very much. Just got your donation in. I want to say thank you. Here we go. There are gruesome new details that have emerged about a 2017 triple homicide involving an Arkansas mother and her 2 young children, including how one of their attackers allegedly forced the woman to watch as he butchered her son and daughter, these 2 little kids, before he ended up knifing her to death. Wow, isn't that crazy, guys? Let me say thank you. We have a new channel member. Her name is Roxanne Smith, and I want to say prayer hands up. Thank you for joining the channel memberships. To Roxanne, we really appreciate you. Now, again, this information is going to be a little bit disturbing. So I'm going to forewarn you guys later in the story, and I'll make sure and remind you again, there's going to be more details about some of the more gruesome information. And if you guys notice, I added a couple of new emojis in there as well. The more channel members we get, I think if we get 11 more members, I'll be able to add more emojis in there, and I'll just keep loading them in there for you guys. So hopefully you guys like that, okay? Makes it kind of cool for us to be able to interact with each other, right? Once we get to the point of more of the details, I'm going to warn you guys so that way if you want to tune out, then you can, okay? The disturbing information was presented to Little Rock's jurors on Wednesday during an opening statement in the trial of 26-year-old Michael Collins. Collins and his brother, let's not skip that. Let's back up. Collins and his brother, 23-year-old William Alexander. Notice, one is Michael Collins, one is William Alexander. They more than likely had 2 different fathers because that is the nature of the black community, right? We tend to not have the same dads as far as siblings, and we tend to not have fathers in the households. These are usually fatherless people that end up wreaking havoc on the community. Now, why do I say this? Because in my opinion, if you do not have the nuclear family, mother and father, biological mother, biological father in the family, especially for these kind of boys, excuse me one more time, especially for these young black men, because they absolutely need some type of guidance from a father, okay? So what happens is when they don't see a father, the representative of what they're supposed to grow up into being, what that in turn does is they don't see value in themselves. You guys have heard me say this before. They tend to not see value in themselves, and if they don't see value in themselves, they're not going to see value on anybody else's life because they don't care about themselves, and it's almost kind of like a walking time bomb, and they're bound to do something bad. It doesn't apply to all situations, but too many in the black community, that is the narrative that happens all the time, okay? Now, Collins and his brother were charged with capital murder and aggravated robbery in the stabbing deaths. Let me see if I can get her face up on the screen so you guys can see who I'm talking about. This woman was named Mariah Cunningham, and those are her 2 kids, 5-year-old Aaliyah Fisher and 4-year-old Elijah Fisher. With those being the same last names, maybe they had the same father. But there was no mention of a father in her household, which is a little bit disturbing to me. The reason why that's disturbing to me is because of the fact that naturally, as fathers, as men, I believe that we're protectors. How many people out there in the chat right now, because the chat is live, and I want to say thank you to Roxanne Smith, who just sent in a $20 super chat message. So thank you very much. I definitely appreciate that. I love it when people find it in their heart to support our message and what we stand for here. We advocate for children first. Men naturally will defend their territory. It is men's job to build and protect and provide. I know a lot of ladies out there understand that, but there are too many of these ladies who are continuing to recklessly procreate with these type of creatures. Normally, these are the type of dudes that they procreate with. I can almost guarantee you, out of both of those dudes, if not both of them being 26 and 23, guarantee you that they got kids. Now, that didn't come out in the details, but I can guarantee you that they have kids themselves, which is even further disturbing with regard to what they did. Thank you. I want to say thank you also to Donna. Thank you very much for your super chat donation. Definitely appreciate you guys. Y'all make sure and continue to keep supporting the channel. And I love the fact that we always have a lot of the same people that continue to support our message. So thank you guys so much for that. Now let's continue to move on. Senior Deputy Prosecutor Barbara Mariani recounted in court how Collins had his brother hold down the mother by the name of Mariah Cunningham, held her down, and made her sit through her children's sadistic murders, reported by ArkansasOnline.com. That was part of my source. According to the prosecutor, the defendant first stabbed 5-year-old Aaliyah Fisher more than 20 times. He stabbed 5-year-old Aaliyah Fisher more than 20 times. Before I finish the rest of this story, I'm going to tell you guys this. Usually, these type of crimes are very personal. When you stab somebody that many times, it's usually personal. There's a reason that I'm saying this, because I am about to say something about the mother that is probably going to piss off a lot of the family, a lot of the friends, and probably people are going to start sending me more threatening emails like they've been doing here all year long. I'm going to make a sweeping indictment about the mother that y'all might not like. And some of you guys might know where I'm going with this. He stabbed a 5-year-old baby girl more than 20 times and tried to take the knife and physically saw her head off. I have to tell you guys about her brother and the mother. Later on in the story, I'm going to tell you guys even more details about what happened. Okay? Then he switched to her younger brother, who was 4-year-old Elijah Fisher, even younger. 4-year-old Elijah Fisher, and stabbed him more than 14 times before separating his head from his body. Decapitated him. If you guys are not familiar with the term decapitate, separated the head from the body. Okay? I know it's a little hard to hear, but hear me out. While you guys are here, don't forget to click that thumbs up while we share this story with you, okay? After putting his mother through the agony of watching this, witnessing her children being slaughtered, then Collins allegedly stabbed the mother more than 30 times, which effectively caused her life to end. 30 times. That's a lot of stabbing. And I'm going to tell you guys this, depending on what kind of knife they cut them with, if it was a sharp knife, if it was a knife that maybe wasn't so sharp, I don't know if you guys understand how much physical energy that you have to exert in order to cut a person, not only multiple times, but as many times as they did. One being 20 times, one being 14 times, and one being 30 times. And that's assuming that it was one person doing all of the physical cutting. I have an exercise because I've done this before. And I want you guys to do this on your own time, either now or you could do it as you're listening to the video or even after the video. I want you to take your hand and do like that, and do like that, and do like that, and tell me how many times you could do that before your arm gets tired, before your hand gets tired. Because that takes a lot of force, and not only to stab a person, but in order to decapitate a human, living, breathing, flesh, bone, and tissue human being. It is absolutely deranged. I agree. Was it drugs? We're going to talk about that also. We're going to talk about a lot of different things in this story, okay? And another thing that bothered me about this story was there was only one news video that I could find, guys. And I promise you, as I always do, I'm very diligent. I went through every medium that I could between Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I went through all of the news articles. I could only find one video, which I'm going to show you guys, okay? Mariani told the jurors that based on the surveillance video, it took 20 minutes to annihilate the mother and children. 20 minutes of doing this. 20 minutes. I personally get tired after doing 5 push-ups. But I'm old. I'm a little bit out of shape. They're relatively younger than me. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there. That takes a lot of energy. Now, Cunningham's grandmother, Sheba, found her granddaughter and her 2 great-grandchildren dead in the family's Little Rock home on December 5th of 2017. So for the people that asked when the incident actually happened, that's when the incident happened. Cunningham's other daughter, Cheyenne, so apparently she had 3 children. We'll talk about that. Cheyenne, who was 8 at the time, was not home that day, and she was spared. I'm going to read that part again because maybe you guys don't catch this part. The mother's other daughter by the name of Cheyenne, who is 8 years old. So apparently she has 3 children, one being 8, one being 5, and one being 4. 8, 5, and 4. She was not home, and her life was spared. So my question in this situation, with it being on December the 5th, maybe she was in school. That's a possibility. Second possibility is maybe she was with her father. I don't know if these kids have different fathers, but that's the narrative in our community. They normally do have different fathers. So that could have played a role as to why this particular kid wasn't there with her siblings, right? And also, these crimes of passion like this is where people gonna get mad at me. These types of crimes of passion are usually over sex. I personally believe in this situation, one of those 2 brothers was trying to sleep with her, or was sleeping with her, or was sleeping with both of them. Are y'all clutching your pearls yet? Did Just Jay just say that? Yes, I just said that. I personally believe that something else sparked this incident to happen, because no human being, even in a deranged mindset, can murder 3 human beings like this without there being some type of extra incentive. Usually these crimes of passion, in order to murder somebody, you can shoot somebody just bow, 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 and they don't consider that to be a crime of passion. But when you are stabbing and stabbing and look it up if you think I'm lying. Look up crimes of passion, and they usually will tell you that they are usually influenced by way of some type of sexual thing. Whether it be sexual tension, maybe she didn't want to give him sex, maybe she was having sex with one, maybe they were fighting with each other. There was something else going on. It could have been drugs, but I don't believe that it was, because The things that the mother had in her possession didn't dictate that she was a D boy or a D girl or anything like that. That's why I think it was something else. Let's move on past that point. Let's move on. Investigators found traces of bleach on the bodies and discovered a steak knife believed to have been used in the murders in the bathtub. So they tried to erase some of the DNA evidence, okay? Now, according to the prosecution, the savage killings were committed in the course of a robbery which netted Collins and his brother a television, an Xbox game console, and Cunningham's old Honda, which the suspects then quickly ditched. Let's talk about what they stole. They stole a flat screen TV. I hope it was not a box TV. I hope it was not a projector TV or some shit like that. Because you know broke people got to do broke things, right? So I'm assuming this was a big screen, flat screen TV. An Xbox and an old ass, raggedy ass Honda car. Even in the hood, niggas will usually have a fancy car and still live in the hood. Am I lying? If y'all continue to keep clicking that thumbs up, more people will come in. It'll share the algorithm. Let other people know that we're live telling the story. I know plenty of people that live in shitty apartments. I know people that live with other motherfuckers. Excuse my language. I know people that live in shitty places or even live with other people that still have nice cars. Living off of somebody else. Tell me, am I lying? Is that not some hood shit? The reason why I bring that up is in this case, the mother was not depicted to have a nice car. Even though mothers that have a whole bunch of kids normally are able to have either some type of financial support, whether it be from child support or whether that be from the welfare program Title 4-D, which is the umbrella program for the welfare system. And they can get car vouchers through that system if she's using the system. We don't know that though. I'm just saying. All I'm saying is normally they get some type of help or incentive. And if she had a raggedy ass car that barely worked, then that depicts a mother that didn't have much. So one would have to ask, why did they go through all of that for such little bitty things? Now, do niggas steal for shit like that? Yeah, they do. I actually know of a person in Oklahoma City recently, y'all can go back and look this up because it was in the news, where a young man was gunned down and murdered over $10. $10. They took his life. He was dead at the 7-Eleven gas station on 122nd and Penn on the north side of Oklahoma City. Look it up. Do I believe that niggas would steal for very meager things? Yes. Is it possible that that's what they were going for? Yes. But I'm wondering, this is what I'm wondering. What made them believe that she either had some type of drugs or some type of money? Because they're saying that they went for the money. What would make them think that? Then I have to think about all of the videos that y'all go watch on Facebook, y'all watch on Instagram, y'all watch on Snapchat. And what is the main thing that niggas be doing? Smoking weed, all in the camera, smoking big pounds of kush. I'm not saying that she did that. I'm using it as an example of what niggas normally do. The females is usually on there twerking and showing their ass. What's another thing that they do? Showing all their money on camera. The money that they either have for their rent or some type of money that they came up on, whether that be their tax return. Thank you. Traveler caught it. Flashing money. You could have literally have flashed $67 and somebody might have thought you had $6,700. I'm not saying that she did that, but since we don't have answers, I have to give you guys some scenarios that could have caused this. Maybe she was sleeping with them, or maybe it has something to do with maybe they saw a video of her flashing some money. But the crazy thing is that one of these dudes actually ended up living with her. So let me get to that part of the story so I can tell you guys about that part of the story, okay? Now, Mariani said Collins was under an erroneous impression that Cunningham had money in her possession. Something made him think that. The only thing that I can think, no, it wasn't around tax time. This was around December. So it wasn't even in time for tax time. So I'm assuming maybe she did one of those videos and flashing money or some shit. Maybe she was in the club. We don't know. We don't know. But he was under the impression that she had some paper, some serious paper. Okay? When the mother failed to produce the cash that this motherfucker was asking for, he punished her by torturing and killing her children to cause the most unimaginable terror, said the prosecutor. Now, Collins, here's the part that I want you guys to catch. Collins was introduced to the mother, Cunningham, by another brother after he needed a place to stay. Uh-oh. I don't know if y'all have caught that. If y'all read the story in the past week, or if you caught it back in 2017, I don't know if you knew that bit of information. Collins was introduced to the mom because he needed a place to stay. What that means is that he at least had some time in her house. They were roommates. They were roommates. Doesn't that make this a little bit different? Remember the word crimes of passion. Bobby Box's Boston caught it. She let a thug live in her house with kids. How many times have I told y'all, ladies, about being so desperate for a nigga that you let them around your kids? They are some cold cowards. Thank you very much. Shout out to my brother, Relationship Rehab. Again, make sure y'all check out his channel. He does dope work, as well as Lady Lie and my brother, Tommy Sotomayor. I'm going to continue to shout them out. Why people continue to come over here and think that I'm not going to shout them out when I am? Yes, that's what we're going to do. That was my people. Loyalty is priceless. They were roommates. And how many of you guys believe that if she had 3 kids at her young age, that she wasn't desperate for dick when most of these chicks in the hood love hood dick? Am I lying? Most women, these type of black women, most hood chicks love hood dick. Hood chicks love hood dick. Can y'all put that in the chat for me? That's a new one for you. Matter of fact, I got some new shit for y'all here in just a minute. Y'all are going to like this whenever we put the indictment. We're going to put an indictment on these two fools right here. Hood chicks love hood dick. Can somebody type that in the chat? Hood chicks love hood dick. Okay? She was broke. Her car was fucked up. She didn't have a whole lot of nothing to steal. That's hood. If you don't have anything worth stealing, it more than likely dictates the fact that your financial situation is not of an economic significance. That's the best way I can say it. It's the best way I can say it, okay? This nigga needed a place to stay, and this woman, before y'all go feeling sorry for this motherfucker, she brought a dude that she didn't know around her 3 kids. Let alone 2 of her kids getting murdered, plus herself. She could have got her 3rd kid murdered if her kid was in the right place at the right time. If that 8-year-old happened to have been at the house, then the 8-year-old would have been dead too. Hood chicks love hood dick. Want y'all to remember that your boy said that. You heard me? It was at that time that Collins became convinced that Cunningham had more money and valuables than she actually did. And I want to know how long he stayed there. I would love to know why that didn't come out. Because if I was an investigator, that's the type of stuff I would have asked. During the robbery, Cunningham told Collins she didn't have any money or valuables. There's a reason why that came up. But he became angry and decided he wanted to punish her. Scott said Collins convinced him that he was worried about the death penalty and worried about investigators finding his DNA at the crime scene. I don't know if any of it was true. Oh, excuse me. Wait. Did I skip a part? Okay, yeah, I did skip a part. There was a guy in jail. Let me see if I can find his name. I skipped his name in there somewhere. But basically, one of the guys that was locked up with one of the brothers, he ended up telling him, and he confessed that he was worried about the death penalty and worried about investigators finding DNA evidence at the crime scene. Now, he said he didn't know if any of it was true, but Scott said when he asked if Collins committed the crimes. Scott's testimony helped prosecutors get a conviction on the case and has been touted highly circumstantial. Security footage placed the two men entering the apartment before leaving 20 minutes later, but their faces were not clear in the video. Now, Collins was arrested 5 days after the murders when the U.S. Marshals tracked him down to an address in Chicago, so he dipped and went to Chicago. Mariani said in court that when law enforcement officials found him, Collins was asleep on a couch, so living with somebody else. I want to know who is enabling these type of dudes. It's these type of women that continue, when you date thugs, you date death. Can we say that again? When you date thugs, you date death. Maybe we need to get some t-shirts with that on it, because it's so true. His Adidas sneakers, splattered with the blood of the mother, Cunningham, and her children, stood on the floor next to him. A search found blood on Collins' shoes, and DNA testing revealed that the blood matched all 3 victims. Say I'm wrong and I'm negative. Well, just tell me, like I hate when you make like blanket statements. Tell the chat what you feel like what I said was inaccurate. Which part? That's all. Like, I just want you to be specific. You can say whatever you want to in the chat. Ain't nobody gonna block you. Ain't nobody gonna time you out. But just tell me which part I'm wrong about. That's why we have a live chat. And the people that are actually channel members told me, they said, hey, it's okay. We want you to open up the chat so everybody can talk. So I do want to hear what you guys have to say, okay? But tell me, which part do you believe? Just take your time, write it out. Just tell me which part do you feel like what I said was inaccurate, factually inaccurate, okay? Now, after being taken into custody, Collins allegedly confessed to the triple homicide in conversations with his cellmate, a bank robber by the name of Marino Bernard Scott, who was 47 years old. Scott, who later became a cooperating witness, told investigators that Collins shared with him details of the violent home invasion that were divulged to the media, and that only the killer could have known. The witness claimed that Collins opened up to him because his dreams were being haunted by Mariah Cunningham. Prosecutors indicated in April that they would seek the lethal injection for Collins, making it the first death penalty request the county has pursued in a decade. But on Thursday, it took a jury less than 30 minutes to convict Collins on aggravated robbery and capital murder, and the death penalty was previously taken off the table, but he will spend the rest of his life in prison. His younger brother, William Alexander, is scheduled to go on trial for his role in the killings in November. So starting here in the next 3 or 4 weeks. Now, here's my question to the people that are listening. I told you guys I would warn you. Do you guys want to hear the gruesome, grisly details of actually what happened to the mother and the 2 kids? I want you guys to give me a thumbs up in the chat. Type a yes, type a no, type a skip it, something. But what do you guys think? Do y'all want to hear what actually happened? in more detail. And it's okay if you want to hear it. It was already in the news. You don't know anything about these people. It's a tragedy, and you should be uplifting for the victims. Let me tell you this, because like I say, you're here, and I'll just tell you this. What I do know is I know names, I know addresses, I know city, I know state, I know who's related to who, I know how many children are involved, I know that there's DNA involved, I know what weapon that they used, I know how long it took the marshals to capture them, I know where he lived at, what his circumstances was, what they stole. So how is it that I know all of this information if everything that I said is I don't have my facts? The only reason I bring that up is because those are the type of emails that I get that I just can't wrap my mind around, because I'm literally giving you evidence that the courts have put in. He's already been sentenced. So what that means is that they've already given the courts legal document information that says this is what happened. And all I'm doing is telling you guys the information that they've already given to the courts. How is that being disrespectful, though? Like, what? I don't even get mad about it. It's comical to me because you'll say that, but you can't give me a fact that I said that was wrong. But let's move on. So you guys say y'all want to hear it. Here it is. Prosecutors said Alexander held Cunningham down as Collins tortured and killed her children in front of her one at a time, trying to get her to give them her cash. For some reason, the brothers believed that Cunningham had money. When she couldn't give anything up and her children were dead, Cunningham, the mother, was killed last, dying on the floor next to Elijah, the prosecutor said. Not DJ Just Jay, the prosecutor said. Now, in a final act of contempt, the brothers threw Aaliyah is the 5-year-old girl. They threw Aaliyah's body into the room with her dead family like a sack of trash. Keep in mind, they were decapitated. They were decapitated. Okay. Like a sack of trash, prosecutors said, pointing to the photo that showed the girl's awkwardly twisted legs, one overlapping her brother and the other bent back against a bed. Oh my God. All the brothers got for their efforts were a TV, an Xbox video game console, and Cunningham's Honda, which the Honda car that they stole had a broken power steering, which was quickly abandoned about 2 miles away from where the bodies were discovered. So they couldn't even drive the goddamn car that they stole. Again, if you guys are just coming in, I'm warning you, I'm giving you the gruesome information about what happened. So brace yourself or just exit the video if you don't want to hear this part, okay? That's your forewarning. Jurors saw close-up photos of the cutting and stabbing wounds inflicted on the mother and her children during Thursday's testimonies of State Chief Medical Examiner Charles Coates. But the crime scene photos shown on the first day of the trial, were more than enough for one woman juror who was released from the panel before Coates' testimony after telling the judge she could not bear to see any more pictures. It was so bad that one of the female jurors had to get up and leave. They took the 5-year-old little girl's body and threw her in a room like a sack of trash The photo showed that the girl's body, her legs were awkwardly twisted, one overlapping her brother and the other bent back against a bed while decapitated with no head on the body. Medical examiner Charles Coates spent 93 minutes on a witness stand detailing the family's wounds through 23 post-mortem photographs. Aaliyah, at 52 pounds and 45 inches tall, was stabbed and slashed about 24 times. Most of them on or around her throat and her face. That's a 5-year-old. The pathologist said. Elijah, the 4-year-old, even smaller, 13 pounds, lighter, and 4 inches shorter than his sister, had about 14 wounds, also mostly around the neck, while their mother suffered around 30 wounds, although a little more than half were superficial, Coates testified. Both siblings died gagging on their own blood because their throats were cut so deeply that the blade that they used reached the spinal column. It reached the spinal column. The medical examiner said that he could only estimate the number of injuries inflicted on the girl, her brother and mother, because of so many wounds were overlapping or represented multiple cuts concentrated in a small area. And they just kept stabbing it and just shit. For the people that are listening, y'all are some brave souls. I do thank you guys for being so open to hear this story. But again, I have to talk about this before I show y'all the video. I talk about how people like to floss on social media, but they're broke as shit. They be in the clubs trying to pop bottles, being in the VIP, dressing all fancy and stuff like that. Women be trying to look like $1 million. You got these rappers trying to do it in their little videos, they little self-recorded videos. Or if they get a little money, they'll pay a real videographer to come out and make it look like they got a whole bunch of money and they got on Louis belts and this and that. You got these IG models talking about like, hey, you know, like there's somebody special, like there's somebody balling and need to be known. You've got these thugs going around doing the same damn thing, talking about they moving keys and whipping work and got on chains and this and jackets and shoes and all of this bullshit. They put on this big ass facade because the imagination is better than the reality that these motherfuckers are living on a day-to-day basis. The imagination is better. So the imagination that they put out there for you to believe made them believe that this woman had something that she did not have. Second thing, where is the fucking fathers at? Of either one or two or all three of these kids. Who's the father? Where's the father? But there was no husband around. She was not married. She brought a thug into her house to live with her because this motherfucker didn't have no place to live. He had no place to live. When he went to Chicago, they found this nigga living on a couch. Damn, black woman. Damn, queen. Is it getting that bad? Is it getting that bad? You had 3 children, 3 opportunities to try to bring a father into these children's lives and still chose not to and ended up around another thug. And I have a wasp inside my house. Awesome. Okay, long as he stay there, it's all good. I don't mind wasps. I just don't want to get stung. I've been stung before. Small problem, no big deal. Next point. She brought this strange man, and I told y'all, if you don't have kids, date all the thugs you want to. Get you some thug dick if you ain't got no kids, right? Or if you don't have custody of your kid, bitches, then fine. Go get you a thug. Get all the thug dick that you want. but it's not fair to these children. It is not fair to these children in any shape, form, or fashion to bring these kids around your thug, because they do not value themselves, and they're not going to value your kids, and they're never going to treat these children like they would treat their own flesh and blood. This dude was the ex-roommate of her. There was a whole lot more going on in this story that nobody wants to admit. Also, the fact that I only found one news video, that bothers me. You know what I found when I looked up this story? I looked up the story on the internet. Guess what came up? Motherfucking Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and their fucking kid. Royal family. That's what they put in the news. Ooh, man, I need to get this wasp for real. Better chill while I'm doing this live, son. They want to talk about Prince Harry, Meghan Markle. They want to talk about President Trump and him canceling some stupid ass golf tournament or whatever the fuck it was. It's something so irrelevant. I'm like, why did they even put that in the news? When I looked up this story, that's what I found. People in the media want to talk about what's going on with Empire. They want to talk about shows like Power, Love and Hip Hop, The Young and the Restless. I don't know what the hell y'all watch on TVs nowadays, but they talk about everything except the kids. There are very few entities that talk about the kids. They cannot speak for themselves, nor can they defend themselves. And it hurts me to my heart, the fact that we continue to show a lack of disregard for the kids. Let me go ahead and show you guys the one and only news video, which don't really count for much of a news video, but let me go ahead and show it to you, give you guys fair use. Hit that thumbs up while you guys are here. Thank you. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And relationship rehab is right. I'm about to shoot this damn wasp, but I don't even hate wasps. I just know that they're going to sting you. I know what's going to happen. I'm not even scared of them. I got arachnophobia. I'm scared of spiders, not wasp. But you better stop flying around my face. I know that. The one and only news video. Here it is.
Can you discuss how the suspects knew each other or knew the victims?
We will admit that the suspect, Michael Collins, knew the victim. And then with regards to Collins and Alexander, they were brothers.
And can you talk about a motive, if any?
No, ma'am.
Can you talk about how the family died?
No.
On December 8th, when was he arrested on the warrants, or was he arrested on the federal warrants?
That's correct. He was arrested on the federal probation violation warrants, and he is currently in federal custody.
Can you describe the nature of those warrants?
It's just a violation of his probation.
For federal charges?
Yes, sir.
Do you have reason to believe more people are involved in this case?
At this point, again, I'll put that in a box and say that it's an open investigation, but we currently believe that we have the two suspects in custody.
Where's Mr. Collins right now?
He's in federal custody.
In Chicago and Little Rock?
He's in Oklahoma.
Can you say how long Collins knew Mariah Cunningham?
No, sir.
He said, can you tell how long she knew him? And he said, no, I would love to know at least that. How long did she know this guy? Now, that could have been a little early on in the case, and maybe they're waiting until the second brother goes to court next month. But I would love to know how long she knew him.
Can you say how long Collins knew Mariah Cunningham?
No, sir.
Can you talk generally to what this means for the department? Such a high-profile case, innocent victims that were so young. What does this mean to the department to secure these arrests?
Well, we think what it means to the community. We see a lot of good things happening. Earlier, we talked about the unification that you see from all of these resources, which is significant. It shows that we work together. We can do that on a state and a federal level.
Critical Thinking did point out something I forgot to mention. One of the brothers, excuse me, one of the brothers were already on probation. They were initially holding him on a probation violation. Yep, good catch. Thank you for pointing that out.
Department, such a high-profile case, innocent victims that were so young. What does this mean to the department to secure these arrests?
Well, we think what it means to the community. We see a lot of good things happening. Earlier, we talked about the unification that you see from all of these resources, which is significant. It shows that we work together. We can do that on a state and a federal level. Additionally, what we see from our community, they're talking to us. They're helping us with this investigation. That's critical. That's everything to us. So we want to applaud all parties involved.
I'm going to let y'all hear this one more time. Then we're going to wrap
Can you
up.
discuss how the suspects knew each other or knew the victims?
We will admit that the suspect, Michael Collins, knew the victim. And then with regards to Collins and Alexander, they were brothers.
And can you talk about a motive, if any?
No, ma'am.
Can you talk about how the family died?
No.
On December 8th, when was he arrested on the warrants, or was he arrested on the federal warrants?
That's correct. He was
Okay.
arrested on the federal probation violation warrants, and he is currently in federal custody.
So that's where it was. That he was initially arrested on a probation violation, a federal warrant.
Can you describe the nature of those warrants
It's just a violation of his probation.
for
Yeah.
federal charges?
Yes, sir.
Do you have reason to believe more people are involved in this case?
At this point, again, I'll put that in a box and say that it's an open investigation, but we currently believe that we have the two suspects in custody.
Where is Mr. Collins right now?
He's in federal custody.
In Chicago and Little Rock?
He's in Oklahoma.
Can you say how long Collins knew Mariah Cunningham?
No, sir.
Can you talk generally to what this means for the department? Such a high-profile case, innocent victims that were so young. What does this mean to the department to secure these arrests?
Well, we think what it means to the community. We see a lot of good things happening. Earlier, we talked about the unification that you see from all of these resources, which is significant. It shows that we work together. We can do that on a state and a federal level. Additionally, what we see from our community, they're talking to us. They're helping us with this investigation. That's critical. That's everything to us. So we want to applaud all parties involved.
Now, I want to remind you guys, sorry, the more I start doing these shows again, excuse me, getting over my weekend. I had a long weekend of DJing. I'll get my voice clearer again. Let me go ahead and get this off the screen for you guys, and let's talk about this. So, critical thinking said that they shouldn't rule this a robbery. Well, what you have to remember is you have to know the details and know the fact that they did cause a murder and they took things from her possession that belonged to her. That's the type of thing that they use in order to convict them of that full sentence. Because initially, they were going to give them the death penalty. In order for him to get out of the death penalty, he had to make a deal. So now, let me make sure. William. So Michael Collins, 26-year-old Michael Collins, the older brother, is now doing life in prison. That's what his sentence was. But 23-year-old William Alexander, he goes to court next month. Okay? So they have to make sure and charge them with every single thing that they could find, and they found out that they did take possessions. Okay? So I want to reiterate my points here before I close out. And y'all, if y'all got any thoughts or something I missed, let me know. First and foremost, this is 100% negligence on the mother's part. She had to have known that this dude was on probation. And if she did not know that, hear me out. If the mother did not know that he was on probation, if the mother did not know that he was on probation, then she should not have had her kids around this dude. Ain't that something? Would y'all be happy to know that I just killed that damn wasp? It just happened to fly right under my foot. Sorry. I know y'all was looking like, what the hell is Jay doing? There was a wasp at my house. It happens. We out here in the South. It happens. It's that time of season. All right? If she did not know that he was on probation, then she should not have had her kids around this dude. You have to be more diligent. You have to know who you're bringing around your kids, okay? Now, with regard to these two dudes, something more is going on. If they're going to give you life in prison, the least you could do is at least tell your story. Were y'all both having sex with her? Was she in a relationship with one and not the other? Was she sleeping with one of the baby's dads? Was she in a relationship? Something else caused this. Was another dude that she was talking to? Usually with these situations, and I actually just watched this this thing that just happened on TMZ. Y'all go to TMZ's website after this and y'all go look at that NBA player. I don't remember his name, but there was an NBA player that got into a fight with an NFL player in the same apartment complex. Did y'all hear that? There's a reason I'm bringing that up. NFL player versus a fresh NBA player. Just got into the NBA. These niggas is fighting in the fucking lobby. On camera. They didn't know that they were on camera, but they were on camera. And guess what they were fighting over? They called this woman a mutual friend. A mutual friend of theirs. Now, does that sound like a mutual friend? You could call it that. But it sounds like she was fucking multiple dudes. But I'm not going to lie to you. This girl is very beautiful. She's fine. And the way that she's thinking about it is she's thinking about it like, well, she knows what type of dudes want to holler at her. It's usually going to be high profile dudes because, guys that got a lot of money, they like pretty things. They like trinkets, you know what I'm saying? Usually dudes that got millions of dollars usually is going to have them a bad female, right? In a lot of cases. Okay? So knowing the fact that a lot of these guys' careers are very, very short, and a lot of these guys run out of money really, really quick, and there are no guarantees in the NBA, especially with injuries and contracts and better people coming up behind you. They just trying to get what they can get, and they trying to get the best that they can. It's a hustle. There's give and take. There's push and pull. And these women want a lot of money. These men want a badass bitch. That's what it is. These niggas was fighting over her. They could get kicked out of the league for the stuff that they're doing. They could get arrested for the stuff that they're doing. They could have died over what they're doing. My whole point and purpose for saying that and bringing this up is because I'm blaming this on the women. That's the type of shit that people are going to start sending me death threats over. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Woo! DJ Just Jay is blaming this on the mother. Yes, I said it. You want me to say it with some conviction? You want me to say it with my chest? It's her fault that her 2 kids are dead, could have been a third, plus her own life, for inviting these thug niggas into her domicile around her young children who couldn't speak for themselves and could not defend themselves. Now, I'm just wondering, do y'all think that these thugs would have been able to do this if her kids were 15, 16, 17 years old? Is it possible? Yeah. If you go in guns blazing. But that means you would have been around at least 3 or 4 individuals that might have been able to defend themselves. That's why I always believe that the most heinous crimes and the crimes that should be punished the harshest in our country should be crimes against children. That includes the motherfucking mothers that keep putting these kids in these fucked up situations when they want to go to the club and leave their kids at home, when they want to take their kids and drop them off at some cousin's house, and then they all at 50, 100 kids at some birthday party, and your kid ends up disappearing, and now you're doing a nationwide Amber Alert and can't nobody find motherfucking Cupcake? That's irresponsible parenting. It is the responsibility of the parent that is there. That's the difference, and I'm glad that Tommy stresses that point. It is the responsibility of the parent that is there. Don't blame some shit on some phantom person that's not in the picture. Otherwise, I believe that you need to give up your parental rights or maybe just give the kids away to the dad if you feel like every time some shit goes wrong, you need to blame somebody else. You need to point the finger somewhere else. No, it's her fucking fault with that red weave on her head, but I want you guys to understand this is also something that Tommy talks about, why these type of chicks are big ass hypocrites and dummies, and they don't need to be supported as victims, like the dumbass in the chat said earlier. Sorry, bro, I didn't mean to call you a dumbass, bro, but I'm just saying what you said was pretty close to what a dumbass would say, okay? She's not a victim. She knew he was a thug. She probably liked thugs. She let him live in her house. He has a criminal background, and you just let him be up on your couch, eating up your kids' juicy juice and snacky snacks and all of this type of stuff. All while you're trying to tell me that you neglected your car to the point to where your power steering is out, but you got your motherfucking hair done. You got a weave in your hair. Y'all catch that? You can't drive to and from work. You cannot drive to and from work with a fucked up car, but you have your hair done. She didn't install that weave herself. You paid for it. And if you're going to pay for it, then that means that in this situation, she neglected her car, neglected her children. For what? For the attention of men. Y'all know what Tommy calls that. That's why y'all have to realize that Tommy's message and my message are always going to meet in the middle, because what we represent is we represent for these children, and we represent better for the black community, because you guys have to start listening to a different voice, because these type of women are only going to tell you what's in their best interest. They're never going to tell you anything that's going to go against their beliefs and their preachings and the things that they do. That's just the reality. But that's why we need to have the balance, the yin and the yang, the push and the pull, the mother and the father. There needs to be balance. Mama's going to say, I want to go over here in left field. Dad is going to say, I want you to go out in right field. And you're supposed to meet in the middle. There's supposed to be a balance. The woman is going to want to go out and go spend all the money. The dad is going to be like, I don't want to spend none of the money. So what happens? We meet in the middle. That's the way our community and our society has always worked, with balance. That's why you need a mother and a father, 1 and 2. You don't need 2 mothers. You don't need 2 fathers. You don't need 36 different genders. Oh shit, did I just say that? Yes, I did. You don't need 36 genders. You just need 1 and 2, male and female. That's it. We're making this concept of life so complicated, really for no reason. Her whole situation, she had no focus in life. For her to have that many kids, to be that young, and continue to keep producing kids when you don't even have a working car for yourself. I can tell you, by the time that I created my daughter, I had a career and I had a working car that was completely paid for. Before I had my daughter, I had insurance, life insurance, health insurance, teeth insurance, stocks and bonds. Y'all hear me? And that's at 24. These thug niggas, how old are they? Let me go back to my notes. 26 and 23. So I was right in between both of their ages when I had my shit together. And that's after I probably had lived out a little bit of my bullshit between the age of 18 and 23.